Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this beautiful wedding destination. It's a beautiful place for a wedding. It will be a wonderful place for us to meet, listen to each other, and form what I would love to think of as the Fraud Buster Network of Cleveland. My name is Sandy Close. I'm the Director of Ethnic Media Services, joined by my colleague Anthony Advincula and Peter Sherman. And together we have worked for over a decade with the Federal Trade Commission to hold convenings like this in cities across the country, with the idea that the most powerful weapon against scammers is information, word of mouth, people sharing their experiences. You know, you read that piece in the paper about somebody's bout of illness and you think that could be me. This is the most powerful thing we can do, is bring members of the diverse communities of a city together to create a common ground around fraud, around scams. And it occurred to me, we all feel a great urgency now about disinformation. Misinformation. They weren't terms we used very much 2 or 3 years ago, but now everybody is talking about disinformation. Scams are disinformation on a mega scale that actually take money from people. How do we create that sense of urgency? Hit the pause button. Don't do it. It's too good to be true. Today's briefing, hosted by the Federal Trade Commission, which has, as a federal agency, wanted to be on the ground, meet people where they are, talk about what they're seeing and getting reports about in the field of scams, but most important, build relationships. Build relationships for the FTC and build relationships among the people working in communities most impacted, so that we can create a kind of groundswell of common communication, connection, and collaboration to fight scams. That's my introduction. Before we start with our Federal Trade Commission hosts, I'm going to do a very risky thing. This is all about relationship building. I can't miss the opportunity. We have such great people at this table to ask you to quickly go around the room, just say your name, the community you represent, or the organization you're with. And honestly, it'll be worth the time, but let's see if we can do it in 5 to 8 minutes.
So can I take 7 minutes? Joking. My name is Matthew Williamson, also known as Matty Wills. I'm with Radio 1 Cleveland. I'm the online editor.
Hi, I'm Sandy Jalanza. I'm also with Radio 1 and I'm in the sales department.
I think most of you know me. I'm Chai from Studio Cleveland.
Good morning, this is Tariq Islam. I'm part of Bangladesh community in Northeast Ohio.
Hi, I'm Lydia Hill Bragg from the Cleveland Department of Public Health, Division of Health Equity and Social Justice.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna Chen. I'm with Asian Services in Action. My name is Pam Hansen and I'm with the Better Business Bureau serving Greater Cleveland.
I'm Dan Hansen with ClevelandPeople.com. We've covered 120 plus ethnic groups in Cleveland.
I'm Richard Stewart from the Cleveland Department of Public Health. Pat Coates, FBI Cleveland.
Susan Lacotte, FBI Cleveland.
Johnny Wu, co-founder of Cleveland Nation Festival, OCA with Cleveland, also do this newsletters.
Carl Ewing with the African American Cultural Gardens.
Leon Dow with Profile News Ohio.
Could you say it again? I'm sorry.
My name is Leon Dow with Profile News Ohio.
Great.
Pierre Bijani, Profiling News Ohio, the president of the Arab American community.
Ali Wakid with Profile News.
Greg Roberts with Legal Shield and ID Shield. We help people with identity theft and legal challenges.
And you actually help people deal with scams? Yes.
Elizabeth Pack Taylor. I am with the Hungarian Hour at Cleveland State University Radio, so representing the Hungarians.
Jerry Quinn, Quinn Irish Radio, WHK, Cleveland.
Hi, I'm Sophia Nazar. I'm from Cleveland Metropolitan School District and Salam, Cleveland.
Hello, I'm Sarah Quinn I'm representing Americans of Pakistani origin.
I'm Eglina Poblis. I'm the Lithuanian consul here in the state of Ohio, and today I'm representing the Lithuanian radio program, the local one here in Cleveland, and the Lithuanian paper Dirva.
Ronald Gallo with the Cleveland Observer.
Sami Danius, CPA, representing the Egyptian community. I have clients who get hacked recently, so I want to talk to you about that.
I'm Tina Coleman with the Cuyahoga County Welcome Center.
Hello, I'm Tamika Watt Florence with Cuyahoga Job and Family Services.
I'm Drew Thomas with Cuyahoga County Consumer Affairs and Scam Squad.
Hello, Fasiullah Sadat from Afghan community.
My name is Dimash Zongo from Community United.
My name is Happy from Community United. Congo. Yeah.
My name is Grace, Community Mushi.
My name is Zeriti, community Hunde.
My name is Florence Filipili. I'm representing the Greater Cleveland Congolese community.
Hi, I'm Pasta Lese, and I'm an intern at Us Together from Cleveland State.
My name is Kimberly Barnett Mills. I'm with Legal Aid Society of Cleveland.
Lisa Wong, I'm with OCA, Asian Pacific American Advocates, Greater Cleveland Chapter.
Joe Bellion, I'm a nurse here with my wife.
My name is Cynthia Bellion, he's my husband. I'm with Motivation, so Pan Asian Professional Association.
Naomi Jia, Asia Town, Midtown Cleveland, a CPC.
I'm now representing Buddhist Nepali community and also a business owner.
Detective Derek Brown, Cleveland Division of Police.
Detective Adrian Cameron, Cleveland Division Police.
My name is Lee. I live in Fairfax, and I'm the owner of Lee Joint Hospitality.
Ross Asada, the host of the All Things Money Show, brought to you by the Phoebe Foundation.
My name is Sue He, Greater Cleveland Chamber of Commerce and Immigration Attorney.
Pamela D'Orazio Dean, Director of the Italian American Museum of Cleveland and Chair of the Cleveland Italian American Heritage Committee.
Thank you so much. I know we have a number of people who just joined, but I think in the interest of time, I will introduce them after our opening panel when we begin our roundtable exchange. Some of you are storytellers. Some of you are here because you have personal experiences you said you would be willing to share. the journalists in the room, this is like gold. You are so valuable. So please be sure, if I don't call on you, that you raise your hand, because it is the personal storytelling that really brings home to people what scams impact really is. And welcome to our colleagues who just arrived. Thank you so much for joining. So now we will be welcomed by Larissa Bungo from the Cleveland. Well, actually, Larissa is representing the Federal Trade Commission, the Washington office. She is based in Cleveland.
Is it working? Yeah? Yes. I'm honored to be with all of you this morning. Thank you to Sandy and Oni and Peter for bringing us together. My name is Larissa Bungo. I work for the Federal Trade Commission for a long time. I worked at the Cleveland office with Adrian and John Stagger, who's the regional director, and I'm honored to be here with Cheryl and Catherine on this panel. I know all of us want to quickly make some remarks just to make sure you're aware of our organizations and free help that's available, but we really want to hear from you. And the whole point of this is for us to have a dialogue and share information. So very quickly, a little bit about the Federal Trade Commission. We are the nation's consumer protection agency. Through enforcement, we bring cases where we sue people who break the law, and when possible, we return money when we can. Many of the cases that we bring are a result of the reports that we receive from people in the community who share what they see and experience with us, so that we can work them into cases or for alerts that we share with the community through education and outreach. And as you see, all of us among here today, it's so exciting because we know that there are so many cases, only so many cases that we can bring. But what we can do is share information. It is truly the first line of defense. If we can share information about scams that we're seeing so people know how to spot them, avoid them, and where to report to get help. The FTC cannot do it alone. No one of us can do it alone. We have to be in this together, and that's how we can combat scams. So I'm hoping I can share a little bit of information about free resources that the FTC has. There in your pamphlet, you'll see a one-pager where we have several websites available. I want to let you know information is available in multiple languages. How to spot, avoid, and report a scam. We have a resource on how to spot, avoid, and report identity theft. There's a resource for new immigrants and refugees coming to the country, also translated into a number of languages. And our reporting line for scams and identity theft. You can report to the FTC in English and Spanish, and if you prefer, you can call and speak to someone in your preferred language, and you can get help on what to do. Another thing I want to share is when you report, you can share as little or as much as you like. You don't have to share your identity. If you have a concern about that, it can be anonymous. The main thing is we want to hear your story, because when we hear your story, we're alerted to the problems in communities, and we can respond accordingly. In terms of the national fraud trends, I'm really looking forward to hearing what everyone is experiencing in the room. I think maybe you are all aware of imposter scams. That is the biggest fraud category that the FTC hears about. And last year alone, people reported losing $2.7 billion to imposter scams. And these are where someone pretends, they lie and pretend to be someone you know in order to get your money or your personal information. One of the big scams we're seeing right now is a little bit of a tag team effort where they pretend to be a local business that you recognize, and then they escalate. So it might be Amazon. They're calling me because there's a problem with my account or an order. And then they may quickly say, Larissa, your account has been compromised I'm going to transfer you to someone from the government, could even be the FTC, and this person is going to tell me how I'm supposed to protect my money. It's a scam. And you know that you are dealing with an imposter scam when they call you unexpectedly, they have an urgency about them, and they want you to pay by some means of cash or wire transfer, gift card, peer-to-peer payment, or cryptocurrency, where it's not traceable. That's the scammer's preferred method. And if you hear any of that, I just want to assure you that no one from the government or any legitimate business will ever ask you to pay through one of those means, but a scammer will. So I hope that we can talk a little bit more about resources. I've left them on the table, but I want to share again how grateful we are that you've come to this. And also I want to congratulate Sandy and Oni. This is the 40th Ethnic Media Briefing that we've done together, and it's very exciting. Delighted to be here. I'm going to pass to my colleague, Adrian Jenkins.
Scammers.
I wanted to introduce Adrian Jenkins, who is attorney with the Cleveland Regional Office of the This was one problem with the wedding venue. They only had 2 microphones. But let's see if we can share. Okay, this one works. Adrian, give us the data. Give us the picture, the big picture. Great.
Thank you, Sandy. Again, in case those of you who didn't hear, I'm Adrian Jenkins. I'm an attorney with the Federal Trade Commission, and I work at the East Central Regional Office, which is located here in Cleveland. Again, also from Cleveland, here with me today is John Vega, who is our senior investigator, and John Miller-Steiger, who is our regional director. So I'm going to give you some of the local stats. I'm going to give you some of the local stats. We are here today to listen to you. We want to hear the stories. We want to hear what's happening and the impacts the scams are having. We have the stats, but we want to hear the stories. But again, I will start with those stats. So we know that Ohioans in the first half of 2024 have lost almost $100 million to fraud. We also know that Ohioans have made almost 30,000 reports of fraud and 15,000 reports of identity theft. And again, that's just in the first half of 2024. We can also look at stats on a more local level. We can look at the Cleveland metro area to see what type of scams are affecting people. And consistent with the national and state level, imposter scams are the biggest scam affecting people in the Cleveland metro area. And an imposter scam can be anything from someone who is trying to pretend to be someone you trust in order to gain your money or financial information. So it can be, as Larissa's example was, a well-known company, but it can also be a friend, a family member, someone trying to pretend to be the government or a well-known company. So we have the stats, but how do we get the stories? How do we get the community to talk about what is happening? We know that we can listen with empathy. We know to only blame the scammer. And we know that we can help figure out the next steps, whether that be making an identity theft report, stopping a payment, or reporting the fraud. Reporting the fraud, again, is very important for our law enforcement efforts and to spread the word to the community. Again, as Larissa said, we brought information today with us so that you can take with you and help spread the word in your community. And again, we are here today to listen to your stories. We want to get to all of you and hear the information that you have to share. So thank you again for joining us today, and we are very much so looking forward to hearing your stories.
Thank you, Adrian. Our next speaker is Catherine Hollingsworth, who is with the I just wanted to make sure I got your title right. The managing attorney for the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland. Catherine, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine, and as Sandy said, I'm a managing attorney with Legal Aid here in Cleveland, and I manage a practice group called the Economic Justice Practice Group. And we handle matters that relate to finances, typically for folks. So a lot of different areas, bankruptcy and mortgage foreclosure and federal tax issues, debt collection issues, employment-related issues, those all fall under the Economic Justice Group at Legal Aid. If you're not familiar with Legal Aid, I just want to back up a bit just to give an overview of what we do. So the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland is a nonprofit law firm here in town. We handle civil legal issues. So some of what we're talking about when we're talking about fraud and scams is really a criminal matter. We are not a law enforcement agency, so we don't handle criminal issues, but we do handle civil issues, and those often pop up as a consequence of someone being scammed. And I'll tell a little bit more about that. But our mission as an organization is to secure justice, equity, and access to opportunity for and with people who have low income through passionate legal representation and advocacy for systemic change. So we handle individual cases, and we also try to advocate for change in policy and laws and procedures. Am I back? Am I back? That might help. Hello? I'm just gonna yell at a loud voice. If you can't hear me, let me know. Okay, I'll try again. So we try to make change in our community to help folks who have low income. And so that's sort of what the Legal Aid Society does generally. In addition to my practice group, the Economic Justice Group, we also have a group that focuses on housing issues like landlord and tenant issues. We have a family law group that focuses on helping victims of domestic violence. And we have a group that works on immigration issues and public benefits issues. So we handle a lot of different civil legal issues at Legal Aid. As far as sort of scams go, as I mentioned, we're not a law enforcement agency. So we're not the entity that's going to try to find out who the scammer is and prosecute that person. That's not our role. Where we see scams often in our office is where folks come to us and they may be facing a lawsuit, for example. And when we dig into it a little bit, we realize that the reason why they're being sued is because they were a victim of a scam, and this is sort of a collateral consequence, if you will, of that scam. So a recent example that came to our office is we had someone who came into us who was being sued by a bank. And when we took a look at sort of what was going on with the lawsuit and talked to the client, talked to the person who was asking for our services, we learned that she had accepted an offer for a remote part-time job where she would need to print some letters and send them to clients. And so she did this for a while. She printed the letters and sent them. And when she was asked, she asked to be paid when the work was completed, and she was sent a check, which she deposited into her bank. It initially appeared to clear. And the employer at that time said, "Oh, sorry, we actually sent you more money than what you had earned by printing these, let's say it was 100 letters. So will you send us back the $2,000 that we overpaid you in Apple gift cards?" And so this person did that. Because they realized, oh, sure, yeah, I didn't earn that much. Trying to be a good, upstanding person. They sent the gift cards back to the employer, and lo and behold, a few days later, the bank then determined that the check was fraudulent, and that our client's account then was overdrawn by several thousands of dollars. And the bank then proceeded to sue our client. So the client told law enforcement, tried to go through the channels to identify that this was a scam to protect herself. She's since been sued by the bank, and not only are they trying to get what was overdrawn, but they were saying that it was theft, and so they were trying to get 3 times as much as she was overdrawn. So that's sort of an example where someone's coming to us with a legitimate lawsuit, and we dig in and we realize the lawsuit is because they've been a victim of a scam. So in that case, we were able to represent this person, and we're trying to sort of resolve the issue with the bank through the lawsuits. And so we're really dealing with the sort of again, this sort of collateral consequence. And ideally, through things like today, conversations like today, we can try to get out into the community the warning signs so that we don't have people coming to our office who are being sued because they've been victims of a scam. So the more we can do to get the word out about protecting yourself from scams, the less work we'll have, which will make us happy, because certainly we don't want to find people in this situation. So that's all I'll share for now, and then happy to have.
Great, and now we go to our 4th speaker on our opening panel, Cheryl Harris, who is the director of the Cuyahoga County Department of Consumer Affairs.
Okay, so my office, as Sandy mentioned, is a county office, so our jurisdiction is very small, it's Cuyahoga County, but we convene a financial fraud task force called Scam Squad. And the members are a lot of the agencies in this room, the FTC, the legal aid, the FBI is a member, various police departments throughout Cuyahoga County, the Attorney General's office, and our whole purpose in convening is to create a way to make it much easier for consumers to report a scam, because it can be difficult to know. Different agencies have different jurisdictions, and it's really hard to know whether you're talking to the right agency when you file a scam report. So people can come to us. The website, I had to double check this because we just migrated from .us to .gov. But so we're cuyahogacounty.gov/scam squad, and our phone number is 216-443-7226. And Drew is going to share with you materials for Cuyahoga County residents. Any county resident who encounters a scam can contact us, and we try to intake within a single phone call if it's possible. It's not always. Sometimes there might be an additional place where we need them to report because, say, it's a cybercrime and we feel like it should be reported to IC3, which is the FBI portal. But everything that we intake, we input in a fabulous database that the FTC runs called Sentinel, and that allows agencies like mine to upload what we're seeing, to share scam reports, and what we wind up with is some really spectacular data about scams that are trending. In addition, my office interviews every single person who reports a scam unless they indicate they don't want to do that. We ask them what was happening at the time of the scam. We try to get a deep understanding of what was appealing about this scam or how they got drawn in. And I just want to say, these scams are devastating to people. We have what we would call like a local imposter scam. That is where someone pretends to be a county deputy, and they call and they say, "You missed jury duty, and we have a warrant out for your arrest." Well, deputies don't actually make those calls. You know, government courts are in love with paper. They're going to letter you to death, right? They don't call if you miss jury duty. They send you more letters. But people are really terrified by this because these deputies use the names of real deputies. So when people Google the name, they think, okay, that is a real deputy. This call's real. They say, you're about to be arrested, and you have 2 choices. You can either, we'll come and pick you up, and you can spend 3 days in jail till a judge is available, or you can pay, they describe it as a bond or something. And so people sometimes will pay that because we had a single mom the other day She was like, I have a disabled kid. I can't leave my kid for 3 days. I chose to pay them because I thought it was real. So people, those are like kind of quick scams, they're one and done. But we have these longer scams as well, the imposter scams that Larissa mentioned. And we just had this one come in. A woman was on the internet and she got, a giant screen, I think it was beeping, and now it said your computer is affected, has contracted a virus. Call this number. And a lot of times they'll say it's Microsoft, but people think it's actually someone who's working with Microsoft or Apple. They call this number and it gets them to a scammer. And this particular woman, she wound up talking to what she thought were Microsoft techs. They told her drug dealers were using her accounts, and they said they're dropping money in there right now. In fact, they asked her to put in a code, and when she put in the code, they actually had access to her bank account, and they took money from her. They kind of reached in behind the screen that she's using. They took money from her savings account, dropped it in her checking account while she was watching, and they said, there's a scammer. There's a payment from the drug dealer right now. So now people think they've seen with their own eyes that they have evidence that this is real. And so when this nice fake federal agent says, okay, look, we have sent a warrant, we're gonna seize your account, but you could still have access to your money if you put it in this government locker or a government account. And this actually is just Bitcoin, and they direct them to the nearest Bitcoin ATM. We've seen 2 cases this year where people were not only did they clean out their entire savings and checkings account, all the money that they had, the scammers came back to them and said, well, the drug dealers are really angry that you closed that account. You are in mortal danger. You need to move. And when these people sold their homes, the scammers got that too. So this is like $500,000, $600,000 in losses. These are not necessarily small, and the amounts, even from the several numbers, are staggering now. To get like even $100,000, $150,000, just even a couple years ago, romance scammers had to really work it for 2 years. It was a long-term commitment. This happened in 3 or 4 months. And these scams, I think that they've just perfected their game so much. These are psychologically complex. People are terrified. Something terrible is going to happen to them. They know they're innocent. They believe the people on the phone. So if you can share, with your readers or viewers anything, just please let them know. That first of all, if someone says they're from police department or court or bank, just hang up the phone and log into your account, call a number you know is verified, call the real people and check. Do not take it on face value that the person calling you is real. If they ask you to send money to solve a problem, that is very highly likely a scam. You can always call Scam Squad to check. We're happy when people call us ahead of time. And someone asks you to pay in gift cards, in Bitcoin, and they don't always use the term Bitcoins. Scammers are sneaky. They'll say government lockers or government kiosks. None of those things exist. The government doesn't hold people's money in that way, right? And then the other thing that our pals at the FBI see a lot is people being asked to take cash out of the bank, to convert it into gold, and then to give that to a courier. No legitimate police organization or company, for that matter, will ever ask you to put cash in a package and give it to a courier. That just, it's not a thing that happens. And if you can just kind of share some of those general things, and if I can just do one more, if you can tell your readers when they see a pop-up like that, like something that looks like it says their screen's frozen, all you have to do is unplug their computer for 5 minutes. Plug it back in, it will go away. It will be gone. So even though it looks scary, there's really like a low-tech kind of solution. So if folks contact us and look at our website, we have a lot of tip sheets and stuff there. We're always happy to field calls from people whenever they're trying to make a difficult choice. They can't decide. So I'll end it there.
Thank you. Thank you to our subject matter experts. We have a real interest in questions. Yes.
I Gerald, you brought up several times to make a call. What is your phone number for the scam squad? I don't see it.
Well, Drew has those things. We'll get them to you. But the phone number for Scam Squad, and any Cuyahoga County resident can call this, is 216-443-7226. And for people who live outside of Cuyahoga County, it's probably better to contact the Attorney General's office or go directly to the FTC at ftc.gov.
Do you want to add any of your phone numbers to this Scam Squad?
Sure, thank you everybody. On the one-pager, Spotting and Avoiding Scams, the phone number and the websites to contact the FTC is there. And if you forget the number, 877-FTC-HELP will get you to the number where you can report scams, and if you prefer to report in another language, we can take interpretation in over 200 languages. Just press 3.
And to contact Legal Aid, we have online intake. Our website is www.lasclev.org. We have lots of resource materials there as well. That's a good place to start. If you prefer to call us, our number is 888-817-3777.
Thank you. Because we took some time to introduce people, I want to go directly now to our community exchange. And I want to start with the Cleveland Police Department, because when you think about it, when you realize you've just lost a lot of money or maybe for you something really valuable to a scammer, well, in my mind, the first thing I think of doing is calling the police. And I guess I would love to know, is it Detective Calhoun? Yeah, could you very quickly give us a sense of the kind of reports you're hearing from the community and what police can do?
How you guys doing today? Just want to start by saying thank you guys for allowing us to participate. Thank you, Chai, for giving us this invitation. And before I get started, I just want to introduce my partner, Detective Jared Brown. He's going to be telling the story after I give out these tips. Just to give you a quick background about what I do and what Detective Brown does. What we do every day, we are considered CPOP coordinators. What CPOP coordinators is a community problem-oriented police. So basically what we do is we connect with the community who have issues and find solutions for them. That could be just a simple of calling 311 if they have issues in the community with abandoned houses. I would go, Detective Brown would go inspect the house, work with city resources to get that issue resolved. Okay. So, and also with 311, basically what that is a city service that you guys, anybody can call. It's 311 portal, you can go on the website, you can call. But basically what that is, it connects you with our city resources. And that can be, go inside.
Put your card in the machine and suddenly it takes more money than...
So basically what that is, some criminals that have like these skimmers, that what they would do is they would attach it to the actual card reading machine. And it looks identical. So once you swipe, it is still all your information. It will go to a system and they got all your card number and everything, and they can pull out as much money as they want. Facebook Marketplace scams, that's probably one of our number ones as well. I recommend if you want to buy something on Facebook, first off look at the reviews. And with Facebook Marketplace too, you can actually click on that person's Facebook account. I've seen situations where people are selling Dodge Hellcats for $5,000 that's valued at $70,000, and I don't think, odds are that's stolen. So if you do see anything like that, report it. And also, if you do want to purchase, meet at a local place. I prefer the police station. So if you guys want to purchase something, go to the nearest police station. Our police station is on 4501 Chester. That's the 3rd District. the number for that is 216-621-623, 5300. You actually can meet up in the lobby. We have an officer 24/7 that's in the lobby. So if you guys want to make any purchases, I prefer to do that. And also another one is pretending somebody's knocking on the door, pretending to be utility workers or some type of employee, or just and they want to do that just to get inside the house and see who's there. So if somebody calls and says, I'm with the water department, you didn't call for that, don't answer the door, ask for credentials, and also if they are saying they're from the water department, you can contact the water department and see if they have anybody else dispatched out there.
So, in the interest of time, since we have so many people.
So yeah, that was basically what if you have any questions, please let me know, but those are our top scams. Again, you can also, if you want to make a police report, you can actually go on our website, you can make your police report online, or you can go in person, or, call us and we can show up to your house.
Yeah, I can. Derek Brown from the police. So Friday, after me and Calhoun left work, I was getting calls from coworkers that I guess I was calling around people in the district, in the first district on West 130th, that people needed to get Target gift cards or I was going to take them to jail. And I was not doing that. Someone was calling with my actual name and my extension inside the district, telling people, citizens, that I was going to arrest them if they didn't get a $50 gift card from Target. So they know our names. They apparently knew what position I was in, and that I was in the commander's office. So be aware of that. If we're calling you to ask for money, no, we're not. All right? So that's actually, it just happened Friday. So I'm sure it's still happening now. So.
The police have so much to take care of. Were you able to follow up, or what could you do?
So an officer responded to the address because the person who called was a victim, and they didn't go to Target or anything like that. So the officer responded and told them to block the number, don't go to Target. As much for a police department, being aware of us going and telling people don't give your money away. If someone's giving you a call and they want you to go do something, call us and we'll give you guidance on exactly what you can do.
Thank you for sharing that real life story. Tina Coleman is at the table and is going to give an example she told me about that is very granular, but hugely impactful with people who have food benefit cards. Tina, thank you. You're with the Welcome Center.
Thank you, Sandy. So what we're experiencing at the Welcome Center and with Job and Family Services is the skimming of food assistance benefits. So these are people that have very low income that are impacted. Their food. So as soon as they are distributed their monthly allotments for food assistance, they're impacted by skimming. Someone has electronically breached their food assistance card and just taken all of their food assistance benefits that they have. So it's a little different from the financial scams that have been talked about so far, but this is just a necessity that someone needs their food, and there is no way to immediately replace that. So we are advising people to make sure they're reporting it to the agency so that it can be investigated. If they've experienced this, request a new food assistance card, change their PIN numbers, but also keeping in mind that once the investigation is done, hopefully they will get those benefits back. But we're also seeing that this is the last month that the replacement funding from Congress has been approved. So after this month, we don't know if we'll be able to replace these benefits for people that are losing them. And so it's really important that we want to bring awareness to, because people are seeing thousands of dollars being taken as soon as they receive their food. So they just don't have anything anymore. So then that is going to our community organizations that need to provide some type of food support for these families. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up as well related to the skimming and the scams.
If people have questions as our colleagues share their experiences and information, please signal me by raising your hand. We have several members of the Congolese diaspora joining us, and I've asked Florence Lowry to share her experience in this newcomer, newly settled, although you've been here longer. Tell us, if you can, a little about the scams you're concerned about and that you've experienced.
My name is Florence. The scams that I hear a lot, and it's happening every day. It's not only for one day, it's still happening. It's like it's a constant thing in the Congolese community. It's a scam that we are being scammed by people who are maybe Congolese, or we are kind of the same community. Because the Congolese community group, a lot of people don't know English. Like they speak English as their second language. So these scammers, they know already the weakness of the community, and they use that against the community. A lot of people, this is their first time they're using phones. It's their first time they're using emails. So anything that comes in, they trust it. So we usually receive calls from people, like this is something that is happening and it's ongoing. We are receiving calls from people who speak the same language like us. You receive a call saying that, hey, we had a meeting, can you log into your WhatsApp number and click on the link so that you can register yourself into the Zoom meeting. And once you click that link, and maybe we do have meetings for Congolese community, you don't know, maybe you say, maybe I forgot about the meeting. And then whenever you click that link, it will take all your WhatsApp information. So what the person will use that information is to contact your family members or the people around you, asking them for money. And we know refugees usually need help in so many different ways. So when somebody receives a call or a text message, when somebody receives a text message from a refugee asking for help, they immediately respond to that and make some type of payments. So people are being scammed, like using the Congolese community phone numbers or emails and stuff like that.
Thank you. Happy, can you share a personal experience with us along the lines of what Florence has outlined?
Actually, I'm happy to have this microphone. So one day, that is November last year, I get a call from Huntington Bank. So, yeah, Huntington. So I was like, they say, oh, you purchased some items, and those items was cost around $5,000. I said, no, I don't remember doing that. They say, oh, maybe there is a fraud inside your bank, so you have to log into your bank and put the money in a, remove the money in a saving account, put it in a checking account, so that we can clear that, and after that we can bring your account to normal. And I said, no, how can I do that when I didn't do anything? You say you are the bank and you want to help me, so just do what you have to do there. So in a minute, I saw my phone. It's kind of, they kind of control my phone when I'm not. I just saw something going on in my phone, and I said, are you scammers? They said, no, why are you saying we are scammers? And then immediately I hang up the call and I called the bank. Oh, hey, Huntington, this is Happy. I want to know what's going on in my account. They say, we don't know. And then they check, they say there is nothing going on, there is no purchase in there. Just block that number and we have to do on our end to help you about that. Actually, that day I was so lucky because I was about to be scammed. Yeah.
But it's an amazing, you had some instinct.
Yeah.
You looked at the phone, you saw something going on, and you hit the pause. That's really, congratulations on escaping. I'd like to go to Pat Coates from the FBI to ask you what your intake and what your experience now with scams is. Are you seeing a particular type of scam that the FBI is pursuing? What can you tell us to help us understand this landscape of scams?
Sure, thank you. You know, a lot of what the FBI is seeing on a national basis is reflective of everything you've heard the previous speakers talking about, and it's, you know, affecting the entire United States. So when we're talking about scams, the top 3 scams that we see, we're seeing investment fraud, and investment fraud isn't your old Ponzi scheme. It's usually cryptocurrency investments, which lots of people are interested in. It's a get-rich-quick scheme. And a lot of people think that they're technically savvy, but these scammers are also savvy. So while you think that you're investing in a legitimate cryptocurrency, you're actually taking part in what we call pig butchering, which is a terrible phrase that we're trying to change, but we keep using it, we keep going back to it. It's called pig butchering. Correct. So it emanates out of Southeast Asia, is typically where the scammers are, and we are considered the pigs. And we are fattened up with basically delusions of these amazing returns on our investments. So, you know, we make $100,000 or a $10,000 cryptocurrency investment, and they show that we've made $5 million, when in actuality they've stolen our money. And then when we say, hey, I want that money back, I want to cash out, they say, oh, well, you owe a fee or you owe a tax. So they get more of our actual money out of us, and that's where the butchering comes in. So they fatten us up and they take everything from us. Again, it's a terrible term, but that is the common term used. Another big one that we see, obviously the impersonation scams. Another one for business owners is business email compromise. So we call those BECs, business email compromise. And that's usually done through someone in your company gets a dirty link or an email that they unfortunately click on, and it gives the scammer access to your email system. And typically what the scammer will then do is they will insert themselves into an email chain, typically with maybe a supplier or a customer, and then tell you, hey, we need to change banking information. We're using different wiring information. And because, you know, you're in the middle of a conversation, you believe that this is accurate. You're talking to the same person. And then next thing you know, you're sending wires of hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to a scammer. And that can be devastating for especially small businesses. So we see that a lot. So those are the top 3. And what I will say is, you know, the FBI obviously is uniquely positioned because we work both nationally and internationally. I know a couple of people have mentioned IC3. So IC3 is the letter I, the letter C, and then the number 3, and that stands for Internet Crime Complaint Center. And basically, a lot of people think it's a black hole, but it's not. You file your complaint, and the complaint gets filtered to your local FBI office. So that's me. And I will look at the complaint, and we have, I won't call it a paradigm shift, but we've shifted in how we address a lot of our scams. And as everyone here can attest, there's so many scams out there, and there's so many victims, and we can't help everybody in terms of investigating them criminally and trying to get the bad guys, because the bad guys are overseas, they're in countries that might not work with us, but what we can do is we can try to get you your money back. And if we get the complaints quickly enough, especially if it's a wire or even cryptocurrency, there's a probability of us being able to get people their money back. And we've shifted towards concentrating on getting people their money back versus trying to get the bad guy, because I mean, almost everyone would be in agreement. If I lost my life savings, as much as I really want that bad guy to pay, I really want my money back more. And that's really what we're focusing on now, is getting those complaints and seeing what we can do to help people get their money back.
This is such a rare opportunity to hear directly from people on the front lines of law enforcement and the FBI. Thank you so much. And Ms. LeCade, thank you for being here. People may want to talk more with you, both our media colleagues and our community representatives over lunch. I want to go now to small businesses, because we have a number of people who really work closely with support for small businesses. And Sue Hay, you're here from the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. You're also an attorney, an immigration attorney, so I'm very curious with the increase in anti-immigrant rhetoric. Is there fear in the Asian immigrant small business community? Are you seeing any trends in scams and maybe a fear about reporting them?
I think for the small businesses, because my information is published online, I myself actually receive lots of scammers attacked or try to attack. And I have my phone ring every day without the information, and I don't know who they are. And because I'm an attorney, I anticipated the people that are now contacting my phone call me, because that's probably a potential client, but I cannot identify who are and who not. So it's actually scary to see my phone ring every day that I could not pick it up. And for the Chinese community, I know even by myself, I received someone say they're calling from embassy and consulate to say you are subject to something, and they speak in Chinese. I know they're scammed because the the consulate and the embassy consul actually told us they're not from us. We will never call individual. So I know they won't call us. But if the people don't know, they will think, oh, this is official, there must be something happened to me. And also even receive call from China, say I'm Chinese government, Shanghai police, that we found that you use your passport and something happened when you entered. And then I ask, what's your name, what's your authority? And I try to Google, or I try to identify the information. Their name is on there. And so, but I know that it's wrong, and I know someone from the Shanghai Police Department that I can call directly. So I told them, can you tell me your police number, and I will call them to verify this information. I was trying to get more information from them, but this is, if the people don't have this level of sophisticated thinking, they probably will not identify this as some things potentially can harm them. So I would say for immigration group, because they're here, they're not knowing the culture, the government working method or function department, they will believe what they receive. If we can receive the information from the FTC or government say, we will not call individual, then we will know that whoever call us is wrong, it is something wrong. If they say, if we call you, we will give you some number that you can search online to double check, then we know there's another layer can protect the information. So I think not only say people, if you got scammed, you have to report, there must be another protection mechanism to give to the public, to tell them if you receive something that is wrong. If you receive something you feel suspicious, you should use what method to check. And use central database to publish information that people can check. Yeah.
Let me ask in terms of providing this kind of information, I know this is the great challenge in the information age. We're drowning in communication, but we don't always get through.
Suhi, I'm so glad that you raised that. So I want everyone to know that we do publish consumer alerts about scams on our website, ftc.gov. And we do have information available in many languages about how to spot, avoid, and report these scams. You are exactly right. The emphasis here is on spotting the scam so we don't fall victim in the first place. And the FTC does publish alerts. You can sign up ftc.gov/consumer alerts. And our partners do the same thing. Many times it's on the websites. But the reason why this engagement is so important is because you as community leaders can take this information back to your communities as trusted resources. We know that we are trying to do outreach and education, but many people don't know about the FTC or perhaps the county services or what legal aid does. And in this environment where we can come together, we can share this information so everybody knows. If somebody says they're from the government or legitimate business, but they're asking you to pay money by cash, crypto, wire transfer, peer-to-peer app, or gift card, it's a scam, period. And we need to get that information out there. We also have a business blog. Cheryl's always very helpful. She's an ambassador, which we appreciate. We have a business blog as well that talks for small businesses about guidance for businesses, about responsibilities and law enforcement actions that have been taken. That's also through the FTC's website.
I'm going to go to Naomi Jiang, who is on the front lines of small businesses in the middle area of Cleveland with Middletown Community Development Corporation. What are the small businesses you work with telling you? And I think we have an example with Ping Yu and others who've been personally scammed as businesses.
Thank you, Sandy. My name is Naomi. I work for Notarios CDC. My job mostly is to support small business in Asian community. At this point, we have 64 plus small business in the area. I appreciate the question, Sandy. So we have small business reach out to us, restaurants as well as grocery stores for credit card scan. And more regularly, we get small business owners forward me emails and send me text messages. Hey, I received this email, I got these messages regarding grant opportunities and business loan opportunities. And turn out it's not what they said. So I'm really grateful that in my community, small business owners, they rely on CDC like us to verify the information. And sometimes I question, what would happen in a Chinese restaurant in Mayfield Road or somewhere in Solon when they receive messages or emails like that? Who they go to? So I'm really glad that I come to this meeting to talk to and meet with FTC and a lot of government agencies. So I know that I can probably ask for your suggestion in terms of how can I help immigrants and refugee community, the small business owners as well as the residents, those new immigrants, refugees. How could we do a general education to educate them, but not to raise a public panic? Yeah, and also I think this is a fact. In immigrants and refugee communities, we do not report crimes. I think Lisa and Tsai and Johnny, you all know that in Cleveland, Asiatown area, we try to encourage residents and business to report what's happening. And we work closely with the police department as well. And there's language, there's cultural barriers, but I think fundamentally is we need to educate them they're not there alone. There's places, there's organizations, professionals here to help them. And I think this is, I realize there's a lot of people here from representing small immigrants, refugee communities. And I think this is what we're here for, to help our communities, our residents, to know where to go to when we have a problem. Thank you.
In your packet, I included a advisory from the FTC, which I found very useful. I live in California. When the earth shakes, we've done so many briefings about earthquakes, but I freeze. My mind goes blank. What do I do? And here is a really valuable what to do if you're scammed. I just want to urge you to take a look at it because it says, what do you do if you pay with a gift card? What do you do if you pay with a credit card? And my office mate was called, an AI voice simulated her son. He said he had been in an accident, and Mom, I need $5,000. She didn't give it a second thought. She sent the $5,000. And she asked me, when she realized getting in touch with her son, that he was okay, she asked me what to do. And I couldn't really answer until I looked up this very important cheat sheet. So I wanted to share that as my personal story with you. Yes, you have a question.
I did have a question for the panel and maybe some of the experts here, law enforcement, and I hope you all can hear me. You know, so much of we hear often about the shame, the fear of coming forward to report, and I'm wondering, as reporters, as journalists, is there a specific terminology that we should or shouldn't use when we talk about, should we use the word victim? Is that appropriate? Are there other ways to talk about this so that it doesn't perpetuate the fear and the taboos?
Thank you. Let's ask the former plain dealer consumer affairs reporter.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So Scam Squad has worked quite a lot to shift the way that our member agencies talk about scams to the public in general, because there is a lot of, really victim blaming and shaming that happens. And thank you so much for saying pig butchering is a terrible term. It's a terrible term. We don't use that in our office. We call it an investment scam. I think, like, if you can think about it in terms of the bad guys are the scammers, right? So it's not the person. People get so wrapped in, they think they're making the right choice for them at the time. So they didn't, I'd avoid words like got tricked, fooled is a terrible word. These are really psychologically complex scams, and I think we need to put the onus on scammers who are criminals. They have found ways to hold people up, not with a gun, but with technology, AI, with multiple means. And just as much as you can keep that focus on the scammers, taking this, they're pretending to be someone else. They're pretending to be someone else in order to steal someone's money, and just avoid those kind of tricks. Now, victim is a tricky one, and I think our members kind of fall on both sides, to be honest. I think, what we try to say when we're talking directly to folks, and we say people who lost money to a scam, or people who, but we don't, we do use victim when we're talking to especially our criminal law enforcement partners, because that's a term that they use and act on. So I would avoid it if you can, and if you can, I think it's important to just recognize there's a person behind it.
Let me ask before I go to our community stakeholders, anybody from media that wants to talk about how you describe a report on a scam without leading the person who's been scammed to feel ashamed.
Yeah, I can do something.
Okay, Ping Yin from Chinese, Erie Chinese Journal.
My name is Yin Fu, do the Chinese newspaper. And a friend of mine, and he owned the laundry store. And one day they just got a call, and he said, if you not pay $3,000, we will cut you, water. And they need the water. And he asked him go to the CVS and give the 800 number. And he called me, take me, go to over there to pay for. I said, you just think about it. How can people like this? That's why, we need the education first. We are the media. We get a lot of the article about it right now. And for me, I understand that over 60 years old, most people got the money lost. And I remember as Anthony just called me before the people lost the house. But one thing is that we need to look ourselves how we can get the cheating, because we want some kind of money, And also, we are most here is all leadership today have agency. We really need all the kind of education for the people. Right now, this earth is really not understand. Thank you.
So you're suggesting we need a concerted campaign, and I should say the FTC has been providing advertising, the gold standard for all of us in ethnic media and community media to alert people to where to go when they've been scammed. But I would love to hear a few more comments. Let's go from the media, and then, yes.
Yeah, so before ClevelandPeople.com, we did ClevelandSeniors.com, which we still run. Seniors are, of course, a very targeted audience. And what we found when we reported stories is to show that it's not a senior type target or a certain ethnic group or anything. It can happen to everyone. And we use the examples of young people, people in the tech field, all that. It's not, oh, I'm a senior or I'm an immigrant or something like that, so I don't want to talk about it, I'm a dummy. If you show examples of people who are, you would think are younger and technically savvy, that it can happen to anyone, it's not something you should be ashamed of, it's something you should report.
That's a very good point. Yes, from Arab Media.
Thank you. I have two-part question. One part is when you get these emails, phishing emails, that most people don't know who they are. They click on it and they will go and they'll take you to a nowhere land. Is there a place where we can send these emails to a department where they can look at them and say, this is a bad email, don't respond to it? We tried to figure out that a few years ago, me and my publisher, and we tried to train people and tell them how to get trained on it, but still, sometimes it goofed me, and I looked very carefully at every email, and it made you wonder, what does this happen? That's number one. Is there any answer from you? And then my number two question is, we just shared with everybody today about a story about a service scam that's been happening here in Northeast Ohio. And it's taking this area by storm. Almost about 30 people every day that are being scammed, and there is thousands, it's not millions of dollars being scammed every day, using other businesses' name under a phony service and trying to collect cash from people, not even letting them know who they are and not even giving them invoices for the services that's been happening. And I want to share that with you later on, Mr. FBI. I left a message to your boss, he never called me back, but I want to, Ryan, I I called Ryan.
Oh.
Yeah, so anyway, but
When you say business, it's happening now?
yes, it's happening now,
What is
exactly.
the name of the company they're in?
They impersonate different companies that they are in service, and they will go to these customers, and they will try to give them some phony numbers and phony stuff to service them, and then they will collect cash from them, and they will never do the job. And if they do the job, they're under different companies. And these people called these companies and said, hey, you came to service me. He said, I've never been there, that's not us. So there is a big scam going on here, and I shared that with some of them and some of the people here. So I would like to hear about this email phishing, if there is any answer to it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's scary. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. So don't click on the link is the first thing. If it's in an email or text message on your phone, you mentioned Huntington Bank, then the scam artist had access to your bank account. That link gives the scam artist access to your personal information or your money. So the first thing is don't click on the link. Verify by calling. If you are concerned, call the person or the company who supposedly is trying to reach you using a number that you know is real, rather than click on any link in an email or a text message. The other thing you can do is you hover over where it says from. If you hover over that, you can often see that it doesn't belong to Huntington Bank or the company. It'll have a bunch of different letters and numbers, might have a Yahoo extension or Gmail. Right. Huntington Bank is not going to use a Gmail or a Yahoo extension for email. So those are some tips. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Is there a call to action number? Hey, I think I've just gotten a phishing scam. Could I send it to you? Well, you know, you don't want to make yourself feel like a scammer, but this is his question.
You know, I think, and FBI too, please feel free to weigh in on the business email compromise, but you can refer any of those to the FTC as spam. If it's on your phone, you can report it to your carrier, your phone carrier. But what I'm trying to make sure is that we don't reward the scammers. So don't click on the link, because if you do, you are rewarding the scammer. It's their entryway into your personal information or your bank. It's no problem to forward it, but don't click on the link.
Do you have any advice? No, okay.
Larissa handled it beautifully.
Okay, Peter.
Just a very straightforward question. How valid is the concern around physical safety? Has there, scams, we primarily think about financial, and there's always a threat, and you feel violated. But should we be concerned about actual physical safety when it comes to scams like this? Is there a potential for people being harmed?
Could our representatives of the police or law enforcement, any?
So, as far as like at home, they have to address it, is that what you're referring to?
You know, it's just we're listening to all these stories, and they're typically involving people's financial situations. But I mean, when you talk about the threat of arrest, there's that sense of your physical safety being in jeopardy. And I wonder, both from law enforcement, but also from the FTC, is that a valid concern?
Yes. Chime.
Peter, I actually have an example. Even though the person cannot be here, I'm actually representing someone from Chile. And she actually works for the largest bank at JP Morgan Chase. And she received an email with a picture of her house. And it started with, I know all about you, and you better respond or else. So when we talk about physical threat, and it went on and on to a page and a half, and this is why all of us at Scam Squad are so passionate. We spend every month, first Thursday, talk about all this stuff. So before I pass the mic on, please, since most of you know me, do it as a personal favor. Before you leave today, please sign up for our scam alert for your own safety, and also most of you are invited, most of you from my guest list, I'm sorry, but I want you to be the leader that you are. Share it with the rest of your community. If nothing else, you make 2 new friends today, we could better solve this problem. So I'm going, Cheryl is ready to speak.
Okay, I just want to address this worry about physical safety and the scam that Chai mentioned. Right now, a lot of people are getting those. It kind of indicates that someone's, aware of your activity online, you can up to no good, and there's always a picture either of their house or their workplace. A lot of times it's a house that they used to live in or workplace. These are just intimidation things that are meant to frighten people into paying. We don't believe, honestly, that there is anyone local around who's coming around to you. They just want your money. Most of these email scams, and they're coming from all over the world. But all of the police departments, if you're really, really worried, you can ask them to kind of like do drive-bys in your community, just like maybe drive by a little bit more, but we don't believe that's necessary, and we tell people not to worry. And to get Scam Squad alerts, which can give you more information to share with your communities, go to cuyahogacounty.gov/Scam Squad, and I think Drew's got some of our handouts, and he will get them to you.
Great. We have a question from our media colleague. Sorry, I have to.
Actually, I don't want to use the media hat or the community hat.
Community hat.
So I get this letter in the mail. By the way, my name is Ron Calhoun, and I live in the Huff area. And I get this letter in the mail. Urgent. Your warranty is up.
Oh, yes, I got that too.
I call this place, and it's a legitimate place in Texas. So what I'm asking about is, we're talking about obvious scams, well, obvious to people that have been scammed. But I'm talking about the ones that are borderline or subversive type scams where they're legitimate businesses, but they're running a scam.
Thank you. Sammy Dennis, CPA. True story about a CPA firm, a friend of mine. She got that email, I'm a new client, I can prepare for you from a friend, and here is my 2022 tax return on PDF. Unfortunately, she clicked on it, they take over her computer. Imagine CPA, 400 clients times 4, social security number for kids, family member, address, name, bank account, driver license, all this information they took over. Then they told her ransomware of 750,000. Otherwise, all your clients will be on the net tomorrow morning. And they are organized. They are a big firm. They have managers. They have supervisors. They are call center somewhere overseas. And they called us. They said, "Okay, we take over everything of your clients. Imagine the shame of losing all these clients." She did the right thing by calling FBI, IRS. She called IRS because he can file on her client's social security and get refund. Imagine how many thousands of dollars that would be. She called the FBI, she called IRS, she called her clients, message telling them that your name is out there somewhere. Please do not use your anything, credit card freeze, all this information. So this is happening, this is real.
Tell us your name.
Sammy Dennis, I'm a CPA from Cleveland.
Great. Thank you. And you're also a representative of the Egyptian community. Tariq Islam, you've had your hand up for some time, and you are not only an engineer with NASA, but you are also representative of Bangladesh.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know our FTC, API, all are doing fantastic job
stopping scams and protecting us. But as Sue mentioned, she gets call from China. And I strongly believe most of these scammers, they call from overseas. Now my question to my friend FBI and FTC and all other agencies. Google is doing a fantastic job, all the phone providers. Is there a way you guys can identify and stop all the overseas calls? What happens? They buy VIP device, you can just pay $20, take it somewhere. And I don't want to profile any countries. They are everywhere. I get calls every day for tax preparation, I'm getting arrested, so many things. And I know how to handle because I got training by FBI every year through NASA. I know how to handle, but most of the people, they don't know whether, and they can get, have you write customized area code that belongs to you. So I think with the advanced technology, our government can do something, identify those people overseas and stop their call. I would love to hear from MBA or FTC if you guys think something can be done. Thank you.
And let me say, you should write a letter to Google and make it a column, and maybe we'll publish it, because it's a very good question. John Vega from the Federal Trade Commission.
So we wanted to talk briefly here to your question. So the government, let me take a step back. The FCC is the one that handles phone providers. They started a program called Shake and Stir, and the idea behind that was to stop calls. Unfortunately, when they introduce something, scammers are already ahead, right? So they continue to make calls. The FTC has taken the stand because those calls come from overseas. They come to the U.S. via VoIP. So how this works, to give you a real brief, right? I don't want to get too much in the weeds with this. Is a scammer, some country, somewhere around the world, makes a call from their computer. From that call, it routes through the internet, and it will eventually enter the U.S. to a point of entry. From that point of entry, it will continue to bounce around, usually 5, 6, 7, 8 different spots, and then it will end up at your AT&T, Verizon, your normal phone service. What the FTC is doing is they started a project called Point of No Entry. It's called PONE, P-O-N-E, and what we're focusing on is stopping the calls from entering the U.S. from that point of entry. So once we start to realize that you run a VoIP provider, that VoIP provider has so many complaints, what we're doing is we're looking at letting them know, we're warning you that calls that are coming through your system are unlawful. Any recorded call or all these types of calls are unlawful. That project up until this day has stopped what we hope is millions of calls that come into the U.S. That does not stop other millions of calls that are still coming. We continue to work on this. I would highly suggest you contact the FCC. The FCC is the one that's in charge of phone providers, your general phone providers. But this program, you actually find it, you type in Project Point of No Entry, FTC, you'll see there's, up to this date, there's 30 some odd providers that receive warning letters from the FTC, all of which are unlawful calls that are in the U.S.
Can you repeat the name of that project?
Project of No Entry, P-O-N-E. Point of No Entry. Did I say project?
Point of no entry. Okay, we have about 10 minutes left before we break for lunch. And I would like to say that several people volunteered to share information. I don't want to lose you. I would like to call on Nar Pradhan, who is with the Nepalese community, the Bhutanese community, to share. Again, looking at Cleveland is so lucky to have immigrants coming from so many countries, asylees, refugees. A city that was losing population is gaining population, and this is a really great discovery for me after not being here for 12 years to discover the growing diversity of Cleveland. So thank you to all of you who represented your newcomer communities for us today. Nar.
Hello. I
Hi, I am representing Goodness Nepali community. Mostly our people are shy, nature, and they got scammed every day, but they don't want to report. And so far, I used to work for agent services as a social worker for 13 years. And within 30 years period, only one young adult reported me for this scam. But there are a lot of scam going on. And previously, the scam was happened to those who speak limited English or who speak English. But now they can provide interpreter too. And most of the senior also scam. And last year, I want to tell about my mom's story. Somebody called and then my mom said no English. And my son and she come with the phone. And at that time, there was some, do you speak Hindi? Hindi. And I said, yeah, we speak Hindi. And they provide interpreter and they started telling, they know everything. You spend a lot of time in refugee camp, which was very pity and critical condition. Now you are here in US, you got citizenship. Now US government awarded you $100,000. So you have to get that money, you have to pay $5,000. And I was on the phone and I told him that, how can you get that money? You can go to the CVS or Walgreens and buy a $5,000 of card and pay us and we will release you, send you the money. And they thought that I know that is a scam and I was telling that if you are not doing that, you are going to get a police in 15 minutes. And I told them that I was in front of the police camp, and they know that and they threatened me, they told bad words and they hung up the phone. So, but they know, they play with emotion and they know the background and they try to get. There are a lot of people scammed.
Could you now imagine reporting that and how helpful it would be to add to the data bank of scams that the FTC, that the Department of Consumer Affairs, unfortunately you don't need a lawyer, so you don't need to go to legal aid, but you could have needed a lawyer.
One thing, the case that I reported, the one case you told me, I was reporting to FTC police and we didn't get any result. We didn't get any result. And the people is asking when that money
Oh, they expected to get the money back. No. Who wants to take that on?
When you report a scam to the FTC, we can't intervene. The county might be a better first line of defense if you want somebody to immediately respond. But please know every report matters, because that's the only way we know what is happening, and we use the information to bring law enforcement actions and also to increase awareness like we're doing today. So we learn from you about a new scam, we share that information with everyone that we know, and we hope the community will share that information. That's how we can help one another. So every report matters.
So if you report very, very, very quickly, depending on, say you pay, right? We really appreciate that scam report forward, that kind of stuff. If you pay, depending on how you paid, sometimes if you report right away, there's a way to contact the store where you got the gift card, and if they haven't already scraped the money off, you can freeze it. The FBI has their, it's called the RAT team, and they try to stop wire payments. And so we always say, go first to your bank, tell them, but then tell them, because they have this great team that's out there stopping payments from going overseas, which is amazing. And then some crypto, if they have a way to stop crypto, yay them. I mean, that's so hard for the rest of us. So, but the faster you report, the more chance, really, I think that you could stop a payment if there's a way. And if not, at least the FTC goes kind of backwards, like they work back and trace these things and they shut people down and make them give people money back. The FTC does the FBI does international stuff. So there's stuff, it might not be fast though. You might not see it.
Okay, 2 more people. Yes, FBI, you get you get to barge in.
I was asked to just comment about when you're filing these reports, and I know I talked about things, potentially going into a black hole, but, remember, even if your loss amount is low, by reporting to us, we're able to, consolidate all that information. And you might be a $5,000 victim, but you might be one of 100 in the area. And all of a sudden, it's a much bigger case that we're looking at. And a, real quick success story. We had one victim here in the Cleveland area who lost $40,000 via cryptocurrency, amongst over $100,000 to $200,000. But when we looked into the case, we were able to link them to other people's complaints because the bad guy was allegedly, the same FBI agent or, Cleveland PD agent or using a certain number. And we were able to track that cryptocurrency transaction to a wallet overseas that had almost $2 million in it. And we were able to seize that wallet and identify all the other victims associated with it, and that money is ours now. And now we're able to get that money back to the victims, all because they, filed that complaint and we're aware of them. So we got all this money back that we're able to give back to people, which is just great. We wouldn't be able to do that if people didn't actually say, hey, I'm a victim and this is who victimized me, this is the number, this is who they purported to be. So that information is super important to us.
Great. Congratulations on that. Tasihula Sadat, is she, I'm sorry. You represent the Afghan community, and then would you be willing to share a few, and Celeste Terry, is Celeste here? Okay, Adrian, but did you have a story you wanted to tell? Okay, so 3 people did lunch, did individual one-on-one interviews, but mainly enjoyed each other, following up and making more personal connections. So, Mr. Sadat. Thank you.
Thank you, first of all, for making this happen. It's very important. Most of the method that scam used were shared by other members. In our community, a couple of examples I will give. The scammers, they used another social media account pretending to be you, and then they are sending messages to friends and asking them gift cards, monies, and different ways. This happened a couple of times, and also especially in the marketplace, our people are new. When they want to buy something, so there are scammers, they post items, and then when you send them a message, hey, this is available, they will say yes. And the next question, they will ask you, hey, share me your phone and we can talk. And then once you share your phone number, then you will receive a code. And this code somehow will verify your information, and your information will go to him, and this is how you will get scammed. A couple of years back, personally, me, I received a real check from a person, and he was a friend, somehow became friend with me in Facebook, and he sent me almost $1,700, and he told me go to Walmart and cash it and buy $1,000 or $1,300 send that back to me, and the rest you will get it. And then I showed it to one of my colleagues, and he said, this is a scam, throw it. So these were a couple of examples. I know it's an important issue, and we need to step up to educate our communities. Thank you.
What is the best way of reaching members of the Afghan diaspora? Do you have a radio show? Do you have a media platform of some sort?
Yeah, we have a couple of groups and social media, and also we have a presence. We have a community center on Beryl Road. Actually, my friend here, Tom, he was here last week to one of our events. He did share his information, and also the Welcome Center. Welcome Center. So,
another scam. With my name.
That is very encouraging, and thank you.
I have my email for over 30 years.
I would like to introduce Adrian Sims, who's with the United Black Fund, and who is oversees fundraising that ultimately benefits some 45 different grantee organizations. Adrian, there are examples of nonprofits being told they have received grants, and if they provide their routing numbers and their bank information, do you want to just spend, I'm just very grateful for you coming, but anything you want to add before we conclude?
Nonprofit agencies, but we represent 55,000 people, so that's a lot of lives. So we appreciate everyone that's here that can help us, because we're going to send out a survey to them so that we can give you the information you need, FBI the information you need, everybody, so that we can keep our constituents safe. So some of the things that they have been involved in that have been fraud related. I was sitting next to my boss and I got an email that says, I'm in a meeting, can you run to the store? I want to acknowledge our team and get some gift cards and get one for yourself. Maybe you all have heard that. And so I showed them, I said, is this you? But it wasn't, of course, because it was the wrong email. We do give grants, and we do need their routing number and their the account number and everything. But we have sessions with them, and we let them know the steps that they should do before they answer any kind of email asking for their grant, asking for that information, so that they can receive our grants. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Who have I missed? Is there somebody who, I'm sorry, how could I miss the leading iconic agency? Two more people. The BBB, you can't do a roundtable on consumer scams without hearing from Scam Tracker, the BBB, and I invited you. Could I let you have the last word and go to our guest here? Thank you for being so patient.
Hi everyone, thank you Sandy for the opportunity. So when I spoke with Sandy and she wanted me to look into some of the scams and some of the difficulties that the Muslim population in Asia, particularly Southeast Asian community, was facing, I had an opportunity to speak with a few people, and it's a list. We're all able to get scammed. We all need to be careful. But what I found out is, like, some of the individuals said over here that people are afraid of reporting. The reporting doesn't occur. Business owners are getting text messages where they're being told they've gotten extra payment and they need to pay back. And some of these are restaurants where they're very busy, so they don't have an opportunity to look and verify if that was indeed true or not. A lot of these are occurring through Venmo and Zelle, because as conveniences, people are utilizing these apps to receive payments from clients. In the Southeast Asian community, arranged marriage is also popular, and so I heard that there are some parents of prospective
girls, boys were receiving messages saying, okay, we have a matrimonial service, would you be interested in signing up for it? And they, of course, they want to, they're desperate, they click on it, and their phone is immediately taken control of, and a blast email goes to everyone in their list asking for some money. There's often 1 to 2 individuals who will click on that link and send money, and there goes that. Now, something like this, especially the matrimonial, goes unreported. They most certainly do not want community members finding out about this. I also found out that someone met with an accident, and the scammers were following the police scanners. So they immediately, called the person and said, hey, you've been in an accident, and the person's in a panic. They're not going to double check. That has occurred. Refugees often think there is nothing we have that's worth stealing. But the minute they're trying to work hard and gain, maybe somebody signs up with the Family Jobs and Services or is looking for a job, they're now receiving messages of potential jobs that they could go in for and getting scammed that way. I'm sorry, there's quite a few. I also heard of an individual who recently purchased a printer, a Brother printer. They tried to set the printer up and they tried to connect their computer. The minute they connected the printer with the computer, there was a pop-up that talked about, are you having trouble installing? Call us. They called and it was very much a, hey, we're Brother printer, website service. We can do this for you, give us control of your computer. And when this was a family friend, when the daughter of this family friend tried to help him out, and she said, hey dad, let me look into this. Let me sign into your Yahoo account. She signs up for the Yahoo account and sees on the side that it says, customer service for premium service members only. And she says, hey dad, what is this? And he says, I've been paying for this. This is just Yahoo customer support. So they had access to his email for almost a year. He'd been paying for this service, and who knows what they've seen, and they're just waiting for the right time. And finally, I also heard that when let's say somebody got their driveway paved or lawn mowing, or they have a security system installed in their homes. Now people have the signs up on their lawn, and those are potential, you could get scammed that way because people know what service you're utilizing. And then of course people like posting stuff on social media, so people pick up on it. And finally, someone lost their dog, was looking for their dog, had their phone number listed somewhere, got scammed that way. So, the list is endless. Thank you for the opportunity. I really like to bring some awareness in my community. I'm interested in speaking and seeing if we can have some events or distribute pamphlets perhaps, but yeah.
That's what lunch is for. And our last speaker is Pam Hansen from the BBB. And thank you for being patient. I know the BBB lives and breathes scams.
Yes, we've been around for over 100 years, so a lot of the scams we talked about today have been going on for that long. There's just been new twists and turns about them. We have a lot of resources for businesses and consumers right on our website, and we have a really great tool called our BBB Scam Tracker, where whether you've lost money or not, you can report those scams to us. And the really wonderful thing we love about this tool is that you can read other people's stories to see what is happening in your community as well. And we know scammers feed on our emotions, and it's just important to keep up on what is happening. I could also talk forever, but I'll keep it short and sweet.
Well, Pam, the question that was asked about, say I got a phishing email, can I send it to have somebody look it over? That strikes me as something a BBB person would be very experienced. So we could add that to the list. But look, you guys have been a great audience. Thank you so much for listening. That is the art so many of us have lost, listening to one another. But this has been so informative to hear the depth and breadth of experiences represented by so many different community And thank you for doing you are at a university. You did research and you shared it with us. That was a great presentation. So on behalf of our hosts, the FTC, I want to invite you to an Ethnic Media Services lunch. As you know, federal agencies aren't allowed to pay for meals, but media can pay for meals, and we're so honored to be joined by our media colleagues and our community agency and community representatives. My feeling in California and at events like this is that by connecting community nonprofits, especially community agencies with community media, you begin to fill in what general market media used to be able to do a better job at, but never really got inside ethnic communities doing. We need a communications structure that combines all the people in this room sharing information and working together. So it was truly inspiring for us from Ethnic Media Services. Please stay for lunch. Please talk to one another. Media, please feel free to interview some of our great speakers. Thank you very much.